Welcome to the Tower Yoga Podcast, where we dive deep into the heart of yoga and community. Come along with us as we explore the transformative power of yoga, share insights, and inspire one another on this journey of life. I'm Kellee Williams, and I'm your host and the co-founder of Tower Yoga. Thank you for joining our yoga community. So, wow, I have tried to start this episode an embarrassing amount of times. Here we go. Let's try again. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode. You have me today for a solo, and we will be, in this episode, diving into the magical and soothing element of water. So whether you're a seasoned yogi or you're kind of new here on the journey, my hope is that you'll have something to take away, something to implement into your daily life after you listen. So let's get our toes wet, shall we? Water is such a versatile and nurturing element, and in Ayurveda, it's associated with the doshas of Kapha and Pitta. But before we dive deeper into that, you might be asking, what is Ayurveda? Ayurveda, it's an ancient wisdom tradition, a system of medicine that originated in India over 5,000 years ago. The word Ayurveda translates to the knowledge of life, and it's oftentimes taught or referred to as the sister science of yoga. And I think that's because they, when utilized together, really work as a holistic approach to not only healing, but maintaining balance and harmony and mind, body, and soul all together. So Ayurveda really focuses on diet, lifestyle, natural therapies, those kinds of things to help bring balance. And of course, in yoga, we're using the physical asanas, we're using the pranayama to work with our energy, and we're also observing some of the, sutras and philosophies in our daily life. So all of it together makes they team up and form a super amazing approach. If it's something that speaks to us, it can help. So in Ayurveda, it categorizes individuals into three primary doshas, or you can think of them as body types, or also known as constitutions, because they apply to not just bodies, like human bodies, but the entire universe. And those doshas are known as Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And each have their own kind of unique characteristic and tendency. I'm not going to go super in detail anymore about Ayurveda today, but I think maybe a future episode that could be really, really cool. Before I move on though, in Ayurveda, as I said, it's thought that everything is kind of made up of the same stuff. Those are divided into categories by doshas. Doshas themselves are made up of the elements. Okay, see what I'm doing here? I'm getting this back to that whole, element of water. Why are we talking about this? So it's thought that everything's made up of some combination of all of the elements, and those are what make up the doshas. So today, focusing on water. In future episodes, I'll focus on different elements. Maybe we'll do like fire or something next time. One of them. And the way that we make up our experiences in the world is through all of our senses. Yes or no? Would you agree? From the perspective of Ayurveda, that's how we make up our experiences. And it's through touch and sound, taste, sight, and smell. I also think there is like a sixth sense of like intuition that is there. I don't know how deep we'll get into that, but even our subconscious is represented symbolically a lot of times by the ocean. And that's a really kind of just interesting tidbit. And if you listen to a couple interviews back with my friend Kathleen, who came and did the Dream Matrix workshop at the studio not long ago. We got into kind of talking about symbols and things like that. But I digress. Let me get back in here with what we're going into. So we make up our experiences through these senses. It's how we come to understand the world around us and how that affects us internally. So, as we're experiencing the world, all of the elements through our senses, we make up our time here. So, Ayurveda really uses the senses and understanding that this is how we make up our experiences, this is how we experience life, and working with the elements of nature with the understanding that we are also those elements in that nature to bring about healing, to maintain balance. So, anytime you go to an Ayurvedic practitioner, they'll do things like check your tongue, read your pulse, ask you questions, look at you, kind of feel and sense into your energy, all these things. And the healing modalities are 100% going to be engaging you and your senses and the world around you to bring vibrancy, harmony. So, okay, let's get into the senses, shall we? That's how we're going to break this down today, connect it to that water element. So the first on the list is the sense of touch. So imagine, and you might even, as long as you're not driving or something, close your eyes. Imagine the feeling of cool water running over your skin, or if it feels better to imagine like a warm shower running over your skin, you can do that. Or imagine taking a refreshing dip in a lake, or putting your hands in a gentle stream as you walk by it. Or you could even just imagine the feeling of like running your hands right through tap water when you're washing them. The sensation of water can instantly calm the mind and soothe the body. Next time you feel overwhelmed or if you're feeling anxious, take a moment to maybe like splash some water on your face, or maybe even just like immerse your feet in water. Even if it's like going in your backyard and putting your feet in the pool if you have one, or walking down to the river if you're at the park and there's one near, and just putting your feet in there. It's a really simple yet powerful way to ground yourself and to use the sense of touch and thinking about the element of water to help like soothe and ground. And, I should also say that I understand that water is a whole thing, just like you and I are. And there's two sides. And while water can be that thing that's nurturing, nourishing, cleansing, releasing, all these kind of beautiful, magical things like I've been talking about, I do know that there's that other side of water that can be really destructive and powerful and intense. So we are focusing a little bit more on that softer side. And just know that there is like a bigger picture to this. For our purposes today, we're kind of focused on that one side to help us. Of course, if water freaks you out, this might not be something to focus on, and just come back to another episode. Just kidding. Hang out, hang in there with me. You might actually get something to take away. Okay. Let's get into sound, the sense of sound. Now, think about the sound of water. The gentle patter of rain, like outside or on the roof, the rhythmic lapping of waves on the shore if you're like sitting on the beach. Or you can even think about being next to like a babbling brook if you're camping or hiking, hanging out in nature. These sounds can create a soothing soundtrack that calms the mind. You can bring this into your meditation or relaxation practice by listening to recordings of sounds. You can go on Spotify and type in like gentle waves or like light rain. And that can be something that you put on if you're trying to fall asleep or in the background if you're meditating. Although, of course, there have been times where I find certain sounds of waves or like waterfalls on Spotify, and it's made me have to go pee. So there is that. There's something that's so interesting. I don't necessarily get that kind of urge if I'm near like a rushing waterfall or something like that. But the recorded version, if I'm listening to it, can make that happen. And I've even been into a yoga class before where there was like a lot of like waves crashing and stuff, and I thought it was soothing at the same time too. I was like, I think I need to get up to go pee so I can relax in shavasana. So there is that. That's just a fair warning. It's obviously optimal if you can go out and get in nature and listen to some kind of like natural water source sound, but that's just not always the case, and sometimes you might be feeling a certain way and not able to sleep, and maybe the ocean sound in the background can help you. These sounds can help to dissolve stress, to bring about peace. So just you might explore that. Let that sound wash over you if you're feeling in any kind of way. Let's get into taste. So when it comes to taste, staying hydrated is super key. Drinking plenty of water helps keep your body functioning optimally. Of course, you know that, but you might even get creative. You can think about infusing your water with fresh fruit like mint. That's a herb. Fruit, cucumber, or lemon. You can make some lemon water, some spa water with cucumbers and some mint, and that can enhance the taste of your water and just give you like a little refreshing twist. It's like a little treat. In addition to staying hydrated, it's important to maintain our body's electrolyte balance, especially if you're sweating a lot in summer or in hot yoga. Electrolytes like sodium, potassium, magnesium are really essential for various bodily functions. That includes muscle contraction and nerve function. And so you can easily replenish these electrolytes after you sweat by adding a pinch of sea salt, by drinking coconut water, or having some of more of those like supplemental things like the elements we have at the yoga studio. There's all kinds of electrolyte products out there. This ensures our body stays hydrated at a cellular level, and it can help even like stabilize energy levels, all that good stuff. For sight, visually, water is really captivating. I don't know if you've ever like looked at a pool and seen all of like the refractions of light and the dance and play of light happening, but that can be super mesmerizing. Staring at the waves is like a meditation in its own right. Even like looking at a serene lake, just hanging out and looking at a serene lake, or sitting next to a river and watching it flow, it can be incredibly calming and like regulating for the nervous system. So those are things that you can do. Again, if getting out in nature isn't something that is really easily accessible to you, then you might consider bringing images of water into your space, whether that's your room, your home, your like work environment. You can maybe put a photograph of the ocean, something that you took, or you might buy a painting of some waves or a river. You could even consider like a little tabletop fountain or a fountain in your backyard, or something like that, to kind of bring in this way to have a visual representation of that water and flow of water that can help to create a tranquil atmosphere for you where you're spending time. There's even with sight, I know it's not an external way to see, but there's like an internal vision and internal visualization meditation. Thinking about if you're find yourself, even if it's just like a quick little meditation you do in the middle of your workday, if you can find a space where you can like sit down, take a few deep breaths, close your eyes, and imagine water pouring from the crown of your head all the way down your body to your tippy toes, helping you to sort of like, it's it's like a more like a spiritual shower, I guess, of allowing that visualization to help refresh you if you can't really like splash water in your face and ruin all your makeup, or if you can't like leave your desk and go find somewhere to stick your feet in water. That could be something that's sort of nice. You can even imagine yourself, like you can try to bring to mind a beautiful body of water or something that you have witnessed before in your life, and you can just visualize yourself sitting there for a couple minutes and taking a few deep breaths and see if that helps you, if that helps or invites relaxation into your experience. All right, so smell. Let's not forget about the power of smell. Have you ever been somewhere where you smell something? Maybe it's something that's cooking, or maybe it's like a product, like a perfume or something like that, that instantly takes you back to a memory, or makes you think about someone that who smelled like that, or maybe the place you were in smelled like that. The power of smell is really, really, really huge. It's, I would say, even something that helps us connect to not only ourselves, but sometimes even our culture, right? And beyond. So, as all of our senses connect us to those kinds of things, smell just happens to be a super powerful one. So, think about the scent of fresh rain or the salty breeze when you're at the ocean, that like misty, salty air. You can think about, or even, like essential oils. You can use and diffuse essential oils. Like a couple specifically that I'm thinking of are eucalyptus and peppermint are both good essential oils that evoke kind of like the essence of water. There's probably a lot of other ones that I'm not thinking about in this moment, but those two right there are really good ones. You can diffuse that in your space, and that can be a really, really nice way to help create a calming environment that reminds you of the soothing qualities of water. Let's talk about the connection between water and the chakras. So there's the sacral chakra, or the swadhisthana, and that chakra is associated with the element of water. It is located in our lower abdomen, or it's not like in there, it's not a thing like an organ, but that's kind of where we conceptualize. That's the agreed upon location or seat of that chakra. Lower abdomen, it governs emotions, creativity, and a sense of pleasure, sensual pleasure. By balancing this chakra with the help of Ayurveda and yoga, this holistic system or approach to health and well being, then we can enhance our ability to flow with life's changes, just as water flows, effortlessly. One way to connect with water, or the water element through yoga, is, of course, by practicing oceanic breathing, that in Sanskrit is known as Ujjayi Pranayama. It is the breath of yoga, it is the music of yoga. And this breathing technique mimics the sound of the ocean. It's something that we use in the physical practice of yoga as a meditative tool. And I do think as a way to help keep us nice and calm, even when the asana becomes really challenging, or when our mind and the thoughts in them start to fluctuate and move. This breath is like a very soothing and calming thing to not only feel and experience in our bodies, but to listen to. Because when we're using Ujjayi Pranayama, we do want to be able to hear the sound of our own breath. And one of my favorite things as a teacher is when I can hear like the whole room in unison. I think it'd be cool to do the technique together right now so we can try it all together. And even if, you've been doing it for a million billion years. Have you though? No, just kidding. It'd be cool to do it all together. Of course, if you'd rather just take a deep breath in, just diaphragmatic breath in and out, you totally can. I'm definitely not a one size fits all kind of teacher. The practice of yoga and Ayurveda, these systems aren't one size fits all either. But if you're down, then let's go for it. So find yourself, you can stand tall, you can sit right where you are. Again, if you're driving, you don't need to close your eyes, just keep driving. You can still do the Ujjayi Pranayama if you want to, though. So soften your gaze, unless you're driving, or even close your eyes if you're able to. And inhale deeply through your nose. And then exhale through your nose. Now we'll do that again, but this time constrict the back of your throat like you're sucking in through a straw. Inhale through your nose. And then keep that restriction at the back of your throat like you're fogging up a mirror, but with your mouth closed, exhale through your nose. Do that a couple more times on your own. Breathing in and out. This breath should sound like a gentle whisper of waves. And you want that wave or that sound as it laps in your ears to be smooth and even. It's like if you can remember when you're if you've ever listened or put up a shell right up against your ear and it's like, I can hear the ocean. You want to try to go for that sound in your ears. I always tell people in class that you want to be able to hear the sound of your breath. Like maybe your neighbor could hear the sound of your breath who's like directly next to you. But if the person like way over on the other side of the room can like hear your breath, it could be a little too intense. Maybe we're getting into more of those destructive qualities of the water element, and to each their own. But I always try to encourage to take it down a notch a little bit there. So yeah, that is a really cool way and just one way to connect the element of water with yoga. How did your Ujjayi Pranayama feel? Does it feel calming? If it does and it's helpful, you can continue to use this oceanic breath to stay centered and to help you bring a sense of tranquility, just like the water. Not only when you're practicing yoga, but you could use it any time of day. Might be a little weird for your coworkers or whoever, but that's okay. Weird's okay. We like weird. Before we wrap up, here's the invitation. I invite you to explore the water element in your day-to-day life. Over the next coming days, notice how water shows up for you in like a refreshing drink when you're like hydrating yourself, and feel it like go down and like hydrate your cells and your whole body. Notice how it shows up in a shower, right? And maybe at the end of the day in a calming shower when you're just kind of washing off the day. Notice how it shows up in your life, perhaps by taking a moment at the lake to look at it or to jump in. Embrace its cleansing, nurturing qualities, and let it guide you to a state of balance and peace, if you would. Speaking of lakes, we have an exciting lake day. It's a community event coming up on August 3rd. So that's very soon. If you're listening to it in real time, let's go. Let's do it. And if you're not, then hopefully you still got lots of takeaways from this episode, and you can still get into a lake if the season allows. I don't know when you'll be listening to this, but at the time of this recording, we are in the thick of summer, so lakes are good. We have this lake day coming up on Saturday the 3rd. It's a perfect opportunity to connect with nature in the ways that we've been talking about here, to enjoy the company of like-minded individuals, people from yoga class, and to celebrate the water element in all of its glory. And if you're looking for something a little more dynamic, you can join me on August 9th for yoga and ecstatic dance. That's happening with Groovy Drew. He will be collaborating with me on that. So he will be DJing that, and it'll be a really good way to just kind of let the rhythm and flow of your body take over as we dance, like water in motion. And there'll be some yoga that'll be guided, ecstatic dance. I'll let you know how that structure goes, an electronic sound bath at the end. I'm hoping to bring in some visuals since we won't necessarily be next to a body of water. It should be really, really fun. So that is happening on August 9th. I thank you for joining me on this watery journey today. I hope you feel inspired to bring more of the water element into your life. I hope that you can make it to one of our events if you're listening to this in real time. Until next time, stay hydrated, stay balanced, and keep flowing like water. Namaste. Thanks again for listening in and joining our yoga community. If it so resonates, please share this episode with a friend. Remember, the inner light of awareness within me honors the inner light of awareness within you. Until next time, stay grounded, stay present, and keep flowing with grace.